Hello and welcome everyone. This is Brenda Rogers and I'm the Young Living Training and Education Manager for Australia, and it's my great privilege this afternoon to have Chris Lewin with us, and we're discussing the exotic oils collection. And welcome, Chris.
Thank you for having me on today.
Yeah, it's a great honour. So please, Chris, tell us a little bit about how you came to be fascinated with the exotic oils collection and also your role in Young Living.
Probably the best way to start is that I joined Young Living back in 2001. It's been a wonderful journey, and when I joined Young Living, I really felt like I'd come home to a place where I could spend the rest of my life, knowing that the purity and the quality of the oils, I never had to second guess. I've always had people whinge a bit about the price, but never about the quality, so I can deal with that. And it's been a lot of different oils have come and gone over the years. And
first of all, Chris, I know these exotic oils are exotic for a reason, and they have both energetic applications as well as physical applications. And I believe your interest is in the more energetic side of things.
Yes, it is.
Let's talk a little bit about that, but also give us your background as to why that interests you.
Probably a little bit on a deeper nature or deeper aspect of it. Unfortunately, I had one of my daughters drowned when she was 2 years old, and that was back in 1994. And it was in 2000 that I run out of oxygen. My oxygen sats were at 78, and there was a whole lot. All that grief was building up in my lungs, so that I couldn't breathe, and they'd sort of given me only a couple of years to live. And it was through understanding the emotional aspects of tied to that grief, and then being introduced to Young Living and to be able to work with that emotional aspect, that I was able to turn things around. So I have a very high respect of how the essential oils work on that deeper level to be able to help us to release the emotions that don't necessarily serve us, and also to strengthen the ones that do. And so that's when I looked at this particular kit, the exotic oil collection, and to me, it's very emotional. Some people might say it's very spiritual in nature. But when it's used in the way that these oils can actually work, because you're actually getting the essence of the whole tree in a drop of oil, which creates a lot of magic as far as I'm concerned. So that's why I have a deep desire to be able to work at the emotional level with the essential oils.
Is there something about the five of them together? Are they a random collection, or do they have a relationship to each other?
Okay, we have the white light, the Idaho ponderosa pine, the jade lemon, the Friana frankincense, the mastrante. Now, if you ever thought about listening to a really good piece of music, you want the notes to be in harmony and let it to flow properly in your life. Well, this collection is like a beautiful song. We have the white light, which is up in the high end of the notes. We have the Idaho ponderosa pine, which is actually has a refreshing and clearing notes into the song. And then we have the jade lemon, which actually gets in very, very deep and starts releasing the inner joy or those notes out, so that you can actually have a very deep cleansing aspect with it. And then the Friana frankincense, which is different to our other two frankincenses. It's a very deep, grounding type of frankincense. You can actually, when you have all three frankincenses there, the sacred frankincense, the frankincense cardaria, and the Friana frankincense, you can actually distinctly notice those three notes going from high, medium to low. And that's where the Friana frankincense fits in. And so it's very grounding. You know, if you're using it for meditation or wanting to have some very serious thought, this is the oil of choice. And then you've got the mastrante, which actually then works through the whole midsection, so you're actually getting those strong notes coming through there.
It sounds so powerful, and it sounds like the kit would be just a beautiful gift for people in certain stages of their life.
Well, let's put it this way. It's always nice to buy ourselves a gift at Christmas. And but because I know that we'll appreciate the value of these oils. But if you have a special friend, someone that you really care about, or someone you want to help to go on that journey, or someone who's having trouble to move forward, these oils are the ones to actually help that clearing, that cleansing, that deep connection, because we're all one at the end of the day. And if we can help each other, it's great. And to have a rare collection like this, because you just can't get these oils normally, and that's what makes it special to give to somebody as well.
So tell us about that. What makes them rare?
Well, I suppose it's because there's not too many people diffusing them to start with. And as I said about the white light, we've had the white fir before, but we haven't seen white pine, we haven't seen white spruce. We've just had the black spruce, but this is the white spruce. So it's a little bit different in nature. And then we've got the white cedar. And where I live, there's a number of white cedar trees, and they have a different feel to the red cedars. And it's also like that when you pull that strength, they have a strong feminine energy to them, but they're very nurturing, very supporting. And I find that this oil, white light, when used, you feel safe with it too. I just love it. I'm sniffing it as we talk. It's just beautiful. It's very, very clear.
So is there anything else you might add to white light in terms of how we might use it or when we might use it?
It's great for diffusing because it does awaken that openness, and it's actually really good with hong choir if you're doing public speaking. So if you use it with hong choir and the white light together, it actually gives you that inner strength to speak. So that's probably one of those things. You can actually put it into your shower gel and actually have a refreshing way of using it with your shampoo. So it just takes your shampoo up to another notch. Of course, you'd want to be using Young Living shampoo. We don't want putting it in with any nasty chemicals or anything that are out there in shampoo. So that's the very important point.
Yes. All right, so now tell us about the Idaho ponderosa pine.
Well, this is an oil that we definitely don't have. And what's interesting, I've always looked at trees, because trees tell us a whole story about who they are and what they are by the shape of the leaves, the height, where they grow, the texture and the feel, because your leaves all have a different feeling, But the ponderosa is a very, very tall tree in America. It's probably one of the tallest pines that exist. So it stretches its arms out and it sort of protects the floor. It has that refreshing, that revitalizing aspect to it. And I think that it also plays out when we actually use it too. When we're diffusing it, we can feel that it just cleanses the area that, where it's being diffused. And yes, I am smelling it. I just find it so beautiful. I mean, I think we're just so blessed to have so many wonderful, beautiful oils, and especially at times like this at Christmas when we can give beautiful gifts, something of value. This is certainly the way to go.
So just on that note, I really love your interpretation there of the look and the feel of the plant, giving some indication of how it might be applied for us. So being a very tall tree, does that, and overlooking things, overlooking the valley, say?
Yeah, so it's emotional uplifting, it's empowering, it's restorative, and it's also calming, because you know what it's like when you're under a beautiful big tree. How do you feel?
Amazing.
You feel that strength in the tree, and you look up at it and you look at the great height of it, and it's just amazing. When I was walking through the rainforest this morning, and I was looking at the big red cedars, it was just beautiful. And you see the staghorns up there, and they support life. They're very nurturing. They give you strength, and you can feel the strength just by putting your hand on the trees. But to have the opportunity to have that tree in a bottle, in a drop, and to be able to have that right there on tap without having to go into the rainforest, it's just beautiful. Though I know ponderosa is not in a rainforest, but I'm talking about that essence of what every oil in every bottle actually represents. It makes it so special.
Well, the same must be the case for jade lemon, which is also quite a unique citrus oil.
Yeah, look, it's very different in nature. Like, it's got the name jade because it actually stays green all the way through. It never ripens to yellow. So the oil, is probably manifests more once it's picked. And that is also, because it's like that and it's about lemon nature, when you smell it, it is actually very rich lemon. One of the things when I first joined Young Living, how I used to test other companies' oils out, was that I would go and smell their lemon oil, because when you smell Young Living's lemon oil, it's crisp, it's fresh, it's like you've got the lemons in the bottle. And so I figured if a company couldn't get their lemon oil right, how could they get any other oil right? So lemon has a deep meaning for me, and when this one come along, you know, it's taking the lemon up to a whole different notch, and I feel that it has a very deep cleansing aspect to it, like, because you can use it and take crayons off and things like that, but used individually, like, it's just great. Like, you got to be careful not to go out in the sun with it, of course, but you can put it on the bottom of your feet, or put it where it got covered up and the sun's not going to affect it. But it is very deep, it's very rich, and it's very spiritual as far as I'm concerned, and it's an emotional cleansing. Sometimes there's those emotions that just don't want to move, and this is the oil of choice to do that. And we're very fortunate in Australia because this is the one oil out of the collection that we can buy any time.
It comes from China, and there's a strong association with jade in China. So is it considered a special oil to the Chinese, or just really to the rest of the world?
I couldn't really answer because I haven't been to China, so I don't know how they actually treat it there, but I know that we're very blessed to have it, that's for sure.
Awesome. So let's talk about the frankincense, which is from Somalia.
Yes, and this is one that Gary took a long time, I believe, to be able to get access to, so that he could actually get the pure Friana frankincense. I do encourage, as I said before, it's like the base note of the frankincenses. When you have line all three frankincenses up together, this is beautiful. It's great to diffuse, whether you're using a water diffuser, one of Young Living's diffusers, or one of the straight pure oil diffusers, because what it does, it just sets that really deep nature to, like if you're doing some meditation or you're doing some yoga or just somewhere where you're wanting that real peaceful moment so you can actually think very clearly. Well, this is where Friana comes into its own. With sacred frankincense, you can feel it lifting you up off the planet, whereas this frankincense actually brings you back into the planet. Very special.
I understand also, Chris, that because not everyone meditates, many people are on the spiritual journey, but for others who are perhaps a little bit more left-brained, they might be, at the end of the year, often people will set their goals for the next year, or business people, so I understand, or even students, I understand that it can be useful in this case as well.
Oh, absolutely. And when I say meditation, that comes in many forms because it's different for each person. But there are always those times where we need to set aside just to have some clear moments to think about where we're going, where we're heading, what we're doing. Meditation is generally a place where you can just get into that deep, relaxed state, but you also need to have a very clear mind to be able to set where you want to go into the coming year. One of the great writers of back in the early 1900s, Wallace D. Wattle, he said, when we want to take our thoughts and express them so that they can manifest for us, we have to be in a creative place and a place full of gratitude. They're probably the two most important ingredients for us to be able to succeed in having what we want to come to pass in our life. And frankincense helps us to get to that place where we can create and not be competitive. And of course we have our beautiful gratitude oil, which you can always slip in there. But it is, frankincense, particularly Friana, does have a number of uses which is different to the other two frankincenses.
So our last one is Mastranti, which comes from Ecuador. Can you tell us a little bit about this one?
Yes, Mastranti. It's of the verbena family. It's more for the midsection of the person. When you actually inhale this oil, you can actually feel it going to the solar plexus or where the stomach region. Often it's said, when you should listen to your gut feelings, because they're generally 99% right all the time. And this is an oil that actually helps you to connect with that area. So if you're contemplating something, which way should I go, this way or that way, maybe Mastranti is the oil of choice for that area. Or if you're worried or you've got a knot in your gut, again, this is the oil to go for. And as I said, it's the midsection oil. It's a beautiful oil. Some people, like if they've got a lot going on in their life, they smell it and go, ooh, ooh. But after a few inhales of this beautiful oil, they find they start to settle down in that area. And so you often get a lot of things happening with people in that midsection. So menstruati, definitely a great way to go. So with this exotic oil kit, you've got from head to toe, in between, and to be able to bring about a fresh new you.
Well, that sounds like a nice way to end, Chris. Thank you so much for your time today and for joining me to talk about the Exotic Oils collection.
Yeah, I'd just like to encourage people, get your hands on this kit while you can, because once they're gone, they're gone. And I'd hate for you to miss out on the beautiful experiences that you can have with this collection.
Yes, great. Thank you all. They're available in the Christmas catalogue. Get your hands on them and enjoy. Thanks for your time, Chris.
Thanks for having me.